Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Mike's vlog. And we went with an axle bar floor press. Right, we went with an axle bar floor press, and we took his miss out. He went up another 20 pounds after that, and he broke it off the chest. It stuck about 4 inches up, and he couldn't go. He just didn't quite have enough chesticles to really get the bar moving the way that we wanted. So what do? We're going to do some more floor pressing. That's what we did. But, again, that's not bad at all. It's not like that was a lightweight there on the axle bar. I believe that was 320 for him. I think that's a 50-pound bar, if I recall, in his case for that one. But, again, even the floor pressing, I got a little tough there. And that's something that we have to remember. I always tell guys that the heavy lifts and hitting a training max will help you attenuate the upper threshold muscle fibers easier on your rep work. But sometimes if you go too hard or you miss a rep like that, it will take a little bit out of you. So what he normally does for the floor press, he struggled just a little bit due to the fatigue, and that's okay. It happens. Doesn't mean we don't get a training response. So, what did his max effort upper day look like? Well, after the max, we do floor presses. He does some pull-ups, right? Does some pull-ups. Does tricep work, right? We do tricep work. As again, we can never have enough tricep, although I do want to adjust coming up what we are doing for triceps, because I don't like to run cable press downs a long period of time. We're going to do a lot of press downs. I really like bands. I like bands a lot more. And he's got good, strong tendons right now, so we may work the JM presses back in. But his volume on this day is fairly low because we do extra back work and stuff through the week. Keeping that in mind, guys, I have Mike do, something in the range of 20 sets of back work per week. All right, we've really been focusing on that upper back for him. Really been focusing on it a lot, but I do feel like, at this point, he would really benefit from, again, just more chest and triceps. And I know he's got big arms, but I'm out benching him now on close grip at this point. I've just passed him. Of course, he's cutting, so we need to get that back caught back up. He's got big, strong arms. He's got big triceps. So I'd like to see him catch back up with me. So we really need to hit those areas good because he does bench a little wider than me. But his lower max effort day, we did sumo with chains. She got a good lift there. Nice, clean training max, left plenty in the tank. And that's kind of the idea of what we want to see. We do some seal rows. He does good mornings. And in this case, we're doing safety bar at this point in the rotation. All right. I want to get more hamstring, though, still on Mike. He's got quads for days. And the fact is, he can squat pretty much on par with what he can deadlift. All right, he tends to be real close. All right, in some cases, he's at the same point. There have been times in Mike's training where he could squat as much as he deadlifts. And I'm talking a deep power squat. So that posterior chain we continue to need work on. It really limits him on his deadlifting. It's really his erectors and his hamstrings that hold back his pulling, because he's got shorter arms, which is why benching's good. So we've been hammering those pretty hard, which is why, you're seeing good mornings. We're seeing a focus on glute ham raises and then reverse hyperextensions, because this is what he needs. And I de-emphasize his quads. The belt squat, I don't care about it. Do it once a week. Right, and so we do it later in the week on his dynamic day. But his max effort day, we really just focus on posterior chain. I don't care about his quads at all. I really don't. I could care less. They're massive. They're big. They don't limit him on anything. Look at the size of them. Okay. For him, his erectors hold him back a lot. His low back is really a limit. And then hamstrings behind that, as far as pulling goes in general. So that's where I put the efforts right now. I'm really trying to double down on that for him. We're really pushing the reverse hyper hard. Like, I'm trying to get him up there to where he can do, the sort of work I do on it, But again, I'm up over 500 pounds for my work sets. If you guys notice, he's got about 3 plates a side on there, I think. So we're trying to get that up, right? Trying to get that up because that kind of highlights where he's at and where his limits are. All right, dynamic work this week. We went with chains on the bench again for this part in the wave. He does 3 sets close, 3 sets medium, 3 sets wide. And again, he has a generous arch, obviously, which again, it's fine. It's fine. If anything, that tells us that when he arches big like this, if anything, I might want more tricep on him again. His pecs have come up tremendously. Like when we started, he was benching like 295 as his best ever. And you guys have seen him bench like up to 340, 350 with a pause. So that's when he started with me, but we did a lot of pec work. And if anything, I've found that for him, the floor press really does a lot for his bench as far as pecs go, as far as carryover. But we still do some other stuff. I like dumbbells for Mike. I like the McDonald bar for Mike. His shoulders don't like the McDonald bar. Doesn't like that camber for long periods of time, but I can run it for phases, and he does well with it. Does really well with it. Of course, we've been doing some overhead shoulder work, again, seated overhead presses, but we're now at a point to where it may not matter that much. I don't think that they're limiting his bench as far as anterior deltoids go. They really aren't. So I may want to double down with pectoral and tricep work for him. And I think that's kind of the direction we need to go. And I feel like because of where he misses in the benching and on the floor pressing, we really need a lengthening position tricep movement in there anyways, just to make sure those triceps get beefy where we need them to be to really get the speed that we want coming out of the bottom of the bench. And it's something that people forget about with that. They look at something like the bench press, and people have these weird ideas. They're like, it's pecs immediately off the chest and triceps at the lockout. Well, that's not necessarily true, right? That's not necessarily true. Just because the chest is at such an advantageous angle, people don't think about the chest contributing to the top and therefore more triceps, if that makes sense. The ratios shift because pecs are at such a large mechanical advantage up there, particularly a wider grip bench. But triceps are used at the bottom, and they absolutely, the long head of your tricep, for example, that stretch point, that point where you're lengthened, can absolutely limit your bench coming out of the bottom. And it's usually front delts right off the chest. Okay, again, some bad myths out there. All right, speed day. We did sumo against bands, right? We did sumo against bands, and then we did good morning safety bar squats against bands. And I tend to leave this one static for him. I don't rotate bars on him. He does well with it. It keeps his upper back strong. We've tried to mess with chains, and the setup for the monolift gets in the way. So he prefers for this gym to just do this. We will be changing gyms next month. So some of our stuff with the routine may change based upon equipment limitations. And that's the biggest thing with conjugate that people don't always realize. The reason I can't standardize conjugate for all lifters is equipment limits. I mean, something as simple as he really likes to squat in the monolift there for the speed work, and the chains get in the way. Therefore, we just stick with bands. Okay? These are unique situations that you deal with as a coach. All right, so we do that. We do, again, the seal rows, and then this is where we do his belt squats. I let him work these in here. Again, gives him the quad work we want. All right, we get that quad work in. There's a nice wide stance so that I'm continuing to build his adductors. We're continuing to build glutes effectively. And again, that focus on his posterior chain. Then we come in and we do our mainstays, the stuff that you guys know that he does. He does good mornings. And we rotate bars. Again, I'm just going to leave these in, I think, for now, because he's changing gyms. So we can leave them here for now, then we can work the cambered bar in later. And we might need to get his deadlift up where I want it. But again, lately we've been doing a lot of safety bar work for him. Again, just keeping the upper back strong. But we're at a point where I think we're doing so well there that we really need a more posterior chain focus more and more, which means might be time to work a cambered bar or something back in, or a buffalo bar, right? Depending on what he has access to. You see both of them back there in the background. So again, when he rotates gyms, assuming he's still going to be able to vlog. We don't know for a fact. He's going to have a vacation anyways coming up, so you guys you'll miss at least a week of a vlog, maybe a week and a half, no matter what. But we'll see what he's got there and then figure out what bars we need to use for that to hit those weak links. But again, the glute ham raise, reverse hyper are not optional for him. These are lifts that he just really has to have. I feel like he has to have these for where he is in his development. I actually would hate to have to reprogram him without these devices, because again, he needs them. He needs them a lot, because they so beautifully address his weak links and allow us to do a ton of volume. And keeping in mind, he's still cutting. Like, we're in a deficit, right? He's at the halfway point through that cut. We've got a little ways to go, and then Mike's going to be nice and lean. Notice the gut and everything is disappearing, right? Be nice and lean, and then we can build some more. And then we finish up with the reverse hypers here. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.